Before we get started with the 5 strategies to live within your means, let us define exactly what it means to live within your means. With that, I can already end the video. All jokes aside, living below your means simply does not mean living paycheck to paycheck any longer. But why do so many people find it problematic? We shall discuss it when we discuss the 5 strategies that will help you live within your means. But why should you even bother doing this? Whatever they may be, you undoubtedly want to reach your financial objectives, right? But have you ever considered what else spending less than you earn might accomplish? You can live a less stressful life, have more career flexibility, and if financial freedom is one of your goals, you can also achieve it. Whatever your objective or goal, it all begins with living within your means, taking charge of your finances, and saving money. And that is what we're focusing on right now. Number 1. Track your money and spending. Tracking your finances and expenditures is the first strategy. To even estimate where you stand, this is and must be the first step. Are you spending less than, within, or more than your means? Since many people vastly underestimate how much money they spend each month, you must first have clarity regarding your financial situation in order to make this estimate. How do you manage that? With the use of these 3 steps, it is simple. Step 1. Gather your earnings and outgoings in one location. Many of you have many credit cards or bank accounts where money is deposited and withdrawn each month. It is simple to lose track of your spending, and you might discover that 1 or 2 of your expenditures on your list have changed. It is therefore a good idea to keep track of all of your earnings and outgoings in one location. There are various methods for doing this. You can do it for free with your own spreadsheet, or there are services like Mint that make it easier. If it is already available, you should watch our next video in the top right corner if you wish to perform this with a spreadsheet. Alternatively, you can subscribe to our channel to make sure you do not miss the video in which we demonstrate our own tracking sheet, which we also make accessible to you for free download. Regardless of your choice, compare your overall revenue to your total expenditures. Rent, energy, internet, living expenses, etc. can all be categorized. You can also look at what are fixed expenses and variable expenses. Step 2. Check your balance right immediately after paying your bills. At the end of the month, is there any money left over? Does it build up, or do you spend even more than you bring in? Please remember that even if the numbers add up exactly, you could still end up in trouble. There will always be unforeseen costs, which, ironically, are the ones that drive the majority of individuals into debt and financial ruin. Step 3. Monitor your monthly expenditure today. The last step is to record your monthly expenses and add them into your tracking system. With this, you aim to avoid making impulsive purchases and, if you do, to reconsider them because you must eventually include them in your monthly bill. First, you want to gain an overview of which unnecessary expenses you may cut. You have laid the groundwork if you have done this. And in the third way, we will talk about how you can keep track of your money even more effectively and make a strategy for your financial objectives. Number 2. Reduce interest costs and pay off debt. Reduce your interest payments and pay off your debt is the second option. Living within your means, which we previously mentioned as having a lot of benefits, becomes nearly difficult when you have debt. Debt is the worst thing that can happen to your income and financial status. Your monthly income is decreased by the interest you need to pay, which narrows the gap between your income and spending. But whether there is an increase in income or a decrease in expenses, we want the difference to be greater. How then specifically can you pay off your debt and lower the interest? I brought you 3 ways to do that. Number 1, refinance your debt. When you consolidate your debts, you can get a loan with a reduced interest rate, which will result in monthly interest payments that are lower. Again, there are several providers for this, but you can also get a help from your bank. Number 2, 50-50 rule. The 50-50 rule states that you should use 50% of any bonus or increase in income to pay off debt rather than spending the entire amount. As an illustration, if you receive a $2,000 bonus at work, you would use $1,000 of it to pay off debt, and the remaining $1,000 would be at your disposal. Budgeting is the third piece of advice. Right there, we arrive at method 3. Number 3, establish a budget. The third method is to make a budget, which you can find in the top right corner of this page as I button. Making a budget is the most crucial step you can take to stop living paycheck to paycheck, achieve financial security, and accomplish your financial goals. You have to put your income and expenses in a location where you can keep track of them and track them. So the majority of it should be finished by now. In case I forget, you should definitely include all of your income, such as child support payments, tax refunds, and so forth. But if you want to achieve your financial objectives, what good is keeping track of every little thing? Nothing at first, which is why it is critical to reorganize your spending, so you may live within your means and use the money you save to attain your financial objectives. To achieve this, creating a percentage budget is the simplest method. The 50-30-20 budget, which allocates 50% of your income to needs, 30% to wants, and 20% to savings and debt reduction, is probably familiar to you. Although this distribution is generally good, it is not individualized, so I advise you to change the percentages to reflect your present circumstances and future goals. You'll need to sit down and consider it in order to create a budget that works for you, since I am generally unable to assist you with that right now. Maybe I will give a course that takes into account your situation, your ambitions, and you as a person so that you may develop a detailed strategy to help you reach your financial objectives in the future. Please let me know in the comments with the phrase financial goals if you would like to do something similar and think it would be beneficial to you. In order to demonstrate how I create my budget, I have left the 50% of needs exactly as they are, while adding 30% to savings and investments and 20% to wants. The 30% investments and savings were divided once again into 20% in my investment portfolio and 10% in retirement savings. Number 4, minimize expense. Reducing your expenses is the fourth approach to live within your means, and it is now quite simple to do so. Now that you have tracked your spending, made a budget, and can see everything at a glance, ask yourself, what are meaningless or unnecessary expenses? Or do I really need that? As you look at your expenses right now, there are a few places where you can surely cut costs and save money. Memberships, a car, food and beverages, and clothing are a few examples. There are a few more places, but in the end, the choice is yours. If you are unsure of what unnecessary or meaningless spending are for you, it can be helpful to identify your core beliefs before deciding whether or not to incur a particular expense. I save money on things like clothes, so that I can invest the money I save there, for instance, because investment is a huge part of my life and a big passion of mine. So, be cautious with your spending and do a proper cut in your expense. Number 5. Change your attitude towards money. Remember at the beginning when I mentioned the conversation I had with a friend about how I gave him a solution to his major financial problem and how it completely improved his life? Exactly that is what is going on right now. The largest issue is not a lack of the skill or information required to succeed financially. The largest issue lies within us, in our minds, and in our ways of thinking. The issue is that we frequently act incorrectly. Why do we do that though? In order to properly explain that, however, I would probably need the entire weekend. It is our ego that wants to protect us from the unfamiliar and keep us in our familiar surroundings. It is a primal instinct, and it is also the reason it is challenging for us to break our old behaviors and build new ones into habits. However, how can you alter your mindset so that you can create sound financial habits? Making the decision to be financially successful is the first step. Sounds overly basic? Do you actually have clear financial goals, I ask you next? If not, you have not made the decision to succeed financially. Establish definite, defined goals for yourself and include them in your budget to help you define what financial success means to you. For instance, I want to put $500,000 in my portfolio. I have set a goal in my budget to invest 20% of my income in my portfolio each month. Therefore, if you desire to succeed financially and set clear goals for yourself, you will soon be able to live within your means. To improve your financial situation immediately, watch the playlist linked in the description, where I will show you the simple frugal living tips with big impact that work. And if you enjoyed the video, do smash that like button and subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so far. That's all for this video. See you in the next one.